Alright, so what's good everyone? So it's been a while since I uploaded, and that is because a lot of shit has happened. A lot of shit. One of those being is, as you can tell from the title, I went to Japan for 2 weeks. And I'm gonna talk extensively about it, but I would like to start by saying, or maybe even giving advice for someone like me who is introverted, you don't like crowds, you might get a little nervous about certain things at some point, that kind of stuff. So the first thing I'm gonna talk about is being in Japan as an introvert. First things first. Japan is unexpectedly small. Whatever you expect for the size of the building or buildings, the space to maneuver around or walk around and stuff like that, it's gonna be smaller than you think. You might get claustrophobic and you're gonna have a lot of times where you're just in crowds and stuff. So a lot of the shops we went to had very little room for walking. Just little room in general. Maybe wide enough for one person unless you turn to your side. My friend made the joke that it's like Sternova. And this goes for more than just shopping places. It goes for food, touristy spots, nerdy stores, all that stuff. It's all gonna be like that. I'd say the only exception is if you're in a mall, but that is the exception. So if you want to minimize being around people, plan your housing and transportation accordingly. Trains get packed during certain times of the day. Anime does not exaggerate that shit. Staying in Tokyo was nice. You're walking distance away from everything. A convenience store, I think they call it a konbini in Japan. There was an arcade about, what was it, 15 minutes away? It wasn't an amazing arcade. They didn't have fighting games or nothing like that, but it was an arcade. They had the crane games and shit. But if you like something more peaceful, maybe consider staying in Osaka. Although some parts of Osaka can get touristy, that is true for most places in general, no matter what the atmosphere is like. And regardless of that, depending on where you stay, it's still gonna have that atmosphere and vibe of a small town you'd find in the US. It is very familiar atmosphere to the town I live in right now. And I don't mean a small racist town, I mean the kind where people say what's up to you when you're walking down the street and shit like that. Now, when choosing food spots, you do not need to choose the popular spots. Spots like Ichiran, in my opinion, aren't really worth it. The experience is cool, but there are plenty of great small ramen places around the area that could be both better and cheaper. And in my 2-week experience, this also applies to other dishes like okonomiyaki. I would go further and say skip the food markets like Nishiki Market. It will be crowded and it will not be possible to properly enjoy your food. I cannot exaggerate it enough. If you're like me, maybe take a look at it, and if it looks like too much to walk through, then that's because it is. Unless you're with a friend that really wants to go, but what I did in that case was speed run through and wait for my friends at the end. The only thing I really did there is I got some frozen yogurt at a spot that just so happened to be out of the way. And then when I was actually in Nishiki Market, the busy part of it, I just grabbed the fucking fried shrimp or whatever and ate it and went about my business. Now, that being said, I would like to address something that I hear a lot of people say about Japanese people, or maybe East Asians in general, and it's that they're kind of painted as maybe socially distant, polite but not kind of shit. But I will tell you right now, in our experience, the people are not as socially distant as they're painted as. We had fun conversations with people everywhere, and had some locals help us out at the train station when we were confused. And if it matters at all, we're all either brown or black. So the stereotype that they don't like our skin color didn't really come through. There was no way for that to come through because we were getting helped by normal people. This wasn't like train station staff. It was just people going out of their way to come up to us and be like, hey, do you need help? Are you confused? Or you need to go here and like get this ticket from here or whatever. And you could also say, well, the racist people keep it to themselves, but isn't that every fucking racist? Unless you're in America. But either way, we had people go out of their way to help us find what we were looking for. And now the food was amazing. We stayed in Tokyo, Osaka, and Kyoto. And based on that, it seems to be that Japan is one of those places where you could walk into a random ass spot and it's guaranteed to be at least good. Some highlights for me were Usagi Ramen, which was at the top of the list for food places I wanted to check out. The atmosphere is amazing. It's being set by Nujabes, my favorite artist of all time, so atmosphere on point. Best ramen spot out of the 4 that we tried, and it's very convenient. You get your ticket out of a vending machine, you sit the fuck down, you wait for your food, you eat your food, and you leave. There was this one Modanyaki spot in Osaka that had a super friendly vibe. They were very curious about us. They asked us. They kind of saw our bills and were like, "Whoa, these guys like are." They said through translator, they said, "You guys have very good physiques. You know, do you play sports?" Now, obviously, I'm a gamer. I don't play sports, but I do go to the gym to make sure I am in shape at the very least. I'm not built, not huge, but I am in shape. About as in shape as a gamer can be, right? So we had a really nice conversation with them, and their food was fucking great. Although my friends couldn't finish theirs, so they had me finish it. So I ended up eating like, what, 2.5 modanyakis? It was crazy. And fun fact, I found out that modanyaki was not what I thought it was. I thought it was a different spelling of monjayaki, but monjayaki is its own thing. So is modanyaki. Modanyaki, its name comes from the English word modern, just how they would say it. So modern modan yaki. What makes it different is that they slap yakisoba on top of it. And lastly, there was a spot in Mount Fuji where we literally ate in homeboy's crib. The food was amazing. I got the curry. I'll try to see if I could find these places on Google Maps, but yeah, this shit was fucking amazing. The atmosphere, it doesn't get any better than just being in someone's house and eating their food, you know? So yeah. There was also an ice cream spot in Osaka, seemingly being run by a very sweet fucking person. She, just look at this. Look at this picture. She wrote a message on the cup, which is like adorable. The little like smiley face, it's so cute, and she even translated it into English. Like, just such a sweet person. Yeah, I got the I think it was like matcha ice cream with dango, and there's something else on the side. I remember right, it was like whipped cream, and beneath it had like granola and shit. That shit was so fucking good. I made sure to tell her because I started eating it while my friend was waiting for his ice cream. I was like, wow, this is fucking good. So as I left out, I was like, oh, she does, and feel really happy about that, which is good. You know, as socially awkward as I am, I do try to compliment people where I can, unless there is a situation that did happen in Japan where my mind went fucking blank. We were at fucking Don Quixote, which is a retail store in Japan, and just while we were looking at shit like souvenirs and stuff like that, you know, one of the workers is trying to squeeze by the people because she's stalking and shit. But it was the most wonderful, adorable, pleasant, and like clearest tomboy voices I've ever fucking heard. There was no accurate description of it because I've never heard a voice like that before. I could never do the voice because I've never heard a voice like that before. Me and my friend, we were trying to think, like, when we were at the Airbnb, we were like, wait, there's no comparison that we can make. Like, we can't think of anyone that she sounds like. I guess to give an idea, maybe the closest thing would be Yanpei with a more tomboyish vibe. And I gotta say, I don't want to give up my age, but I am in my 20s. And that was the first time a girl had me feeling some kind of way. And I didn't even really see her. I saw her hair, I heard her voice, I didn't even really see her. And my mind went blank. It was like I was stun locked. I was in a fighting game combo until we got back to the Airbnb. And remember, I just said that I try to compliment people whenever I can, like with the girl with the ice cream, or like if I'm when we were eating at Usagi Ramen or something like that, I was like, oh, oishi. In this case, yo, I was fucked up. And when we got back to the Airbnb, I finally recovered, and I was like, yo, her voice was fucking beautiful. And my boy, he was like, you should have said something to her. Obviously, I was trying to like mull it over because I was like, I feel like being the customer and her being an employee is kind of like a weird dynamic. Like, I didn't want to like interrupt her while she might have been busy or something like that. I was trying to be really considerate, but then he was like, no, just tell her she has a nice voice. I'm like, and then I was like, God fucking damn it. So what I did was I said to myself, if I did hear her again, so to speak, I would tell her that she has a really nice voice. But that never happened. Unfortunately, it never happened. And that time, I will say that time I was ready because, yo, I cannot emphasize how fucking struck I was. Y'all need to understand, in my 20 plus years of living, that was the only time where a girl actually hit me like that. I'm a heterosexual guy, mostly, and I've never had an experience where I was struck like that. There have been times where I see a girl and I was like, oh, she's cute. Okay, well, I just move on, you know? But I've never had this lingering feeling of like, I should have fucking said something. And even just as a compliment, like, hey, your voice is really nice. The same shit happened at the fucking airport where this guy at the gate where I was taking my flight back home had an incredible voice. Although in that case, I was really pissed off that time, so I didn't say anything. But if I wasn't pissed, I probably would have been like, hey man, your voice is really nice. But yeah, so Japan has a lot of cute girls, and it was obvious the moment we fucking landed, it was a wrap. But the thing is, I heard this girl's voice like within the first few days of Japan, and at that point I was just like, yeah, it's over. Like, I would see like another cute girl during the trip, and I'll just be like, oh, she looks cute, but you know, the Don Quixote girl. But I don't know, yeah, I was fucked up. And now anyone that knows me, y'all know I collect figures, I like collecting merch, stuff like that. So what did I get? I got a lot of stuff. So starting off with the 2 figures that I got. Yes, it was just 2 figures. I didn't get any more than that. I got a figure of Coletta, which was my reason for even giving ZZZ a try in the first place. And I tried very hard to find a figure of Lucy, best girl, but I couldn't find shit. But I did get some pins of her along with some Coletta pins and other various merch of her. So, you know, I guess Lucy isn't very popular, even though she's adorable and queen as fuck. There was also a Genshin corner in Don Quixote. So, you know, got some Kole, Ganyu, Yoimiya, and Xinyan pins. I'm really surprised that they had Xinyan. Sometimes it feels like I'm the only one that gives a fuck about her. And y'all know this, I love Mona. She's the cutest anime girl ever. But I'm glad the merch wasn't really focused on her at all, because I would have been tempted to get Mona dupes in real life. I also want to add that I was gonna get a Zanka figure from Gachi Akuta, but his face looked too stiff, you know? I love Zanka, he's my favorite character in Gachi Akuta. Love his design is beautiful, but I couldn't do it. His face just looks so stiff. And I know it is a budget-friendly figure. I would pay a little more just to have something a little more expressive. And I've seen the Rio one that they have, and that one's real nice because it's the pose and her facial expression is great. But I don't know, I feel like they missed with Zanka. And now, plushies. I do get plushies. My favorite thing I got was a Silverwolf plush from a Crane game. So take a guess, I don't play Star Rail. She was the only reason I even played Star Rail for as long as I did, which was 1 week. Very happy with it because I love her and her design. I said it before, sometimes you can just tell when you're gonna love a character before you even get to them in the first place. I also got a gorilla plush. Gorillas are one of my favorite animals along with orangutans. I love it. I put it on my bag. It looks great. Yeah, I got it at Don Quixote. I also got a Ganyu plush. Very simple plush. I decided to keep it in the box to preserve it. Looks really nice. And unfortunately, there were some plushies of Neru and Hina from Blue Archive that I couldn't manage to get. It was one of those Crane games that were, you know, they say Crane games are rigged. These were especially bad because when the claw would hit the top while carrying the prize, the claws would spread out open. So you had to do some fucking 1 million IQ play to keep them in the claw. And I don't have a million IQ, I have 1 IQ. So I wasn't gonna do it. But yeah, I haven't touched Blue Archive in forever. But I do think they have some top tier cute ass girls. Neru and Hina are up there. They're not my favorites, but they're like top 10. But again, the Crane game was on some BS. I did play it out just because I had coins to spend. So I was just like, fuck it, I need to get rid of these coins. I'm just gonna do what I can. If I get them, cool. If I don't, whatever. Next up, Tower Records. If there's one thing people need to know about me is that I am a music enthusiast. I love music. I'm always checking out indie artists, big artists that are somewhere in the middle. I could probably tell you my top 10 albums, top 10 artists off the top of my head. So, Tower Records was an obligation, and it's where I really dropped a stack. I copped the TPAB and GNX vinyls. They are widely available in the US, but I figured it might be cheaper just to get them in Japan. TPAB and GNX, both amazing albums. TPAB is probably in my top 20 hip-hop albums of all time. GNX is my second favorite Kendrick album, so there you go. Violet Evergarden soundtrack. Violet Evergarden, favorite anime ever made. Maybe the best anime soundtrack ever. I also got the soundtrack used in the OVA and the movie. I also got some random CDs that just happen to have like nice art. Paniyolo, there's one in Japanese that I don't know the name of. There's a Haruka Nakamura tribute to nujabes. I think it's titled Prey Reflections. Most Defs, Black on Both Sides. I couldn't find the vinyl for it, but there was a CD for 1,400 yen, which is around $10-11, and that is a fucking steal for a legendary album. In my opinion, top 5 rap albums of all time. Maybe top 10, most likely top 5. If you see what I did there. The Gachi Akuta soundtrack. I don't like the entirety of the Gachi Akuta soundtrack, but there are some fucking bangers on there. Like absolutely 10 out of 10 tracks. There was also a section dedicated to Sotaise Ridon, which is in English that would be Theory of Relativity, I think. Amazing band, maybe my favorite band of all time. In my opinion, they have 3 classics, 2 heavy classics and 1 light classic. Their best album is Synchronicity, and their debut album is actually pretty, debut EP is actually pretty good too. I got the Pokemon Omega Ruby soundtrack. Apparently it includes both the Omega Ruby soundtrack and the Alpha Sapphire soundtrack, so yeah. Omega Ruby is my favorite Pokemon game, so I couldn't pass it up, and the soundtrack is fucking amazing. But yeah, so Taisei Ridon, I got everything except for Hi-Fi Anatomia. which is surprising because I figured that was the one thing that they would have. And unfortunately, I couldn't find any vinyls for this stuff. I don't know if those even exist in the first place. If they do, I couldn't find it. Now, we have... I always forget what their EP is called. God damn it. Let me look it up. Chiffonism? Chiffon Shugi? Like I said, I'm missing Hi-Fi Anatomia. I got Synchronicitine. I don't think I got Town Age. I got Tensei Jingle, which is their... what I consider their light classic. So I am just missing Town Age and Hi-Fi Anatomia. I don't know if I would get Town Age because I would have to re-listen to it. I don't remember it being super standoutish in my opinion, but Hi-Fi Anatomia I would love. Now for vinyls, let's see, 1, 2. I got 14 vinyls in total. All this stuff costed around $800. It was worth it. Obviously Nujabes, I got his entire discography. Everything I could find, I got it. Metaphorical Music, Madal Soul, Second Collections, his work on Samurai Champloo. First Collections, y'all know what it is. And I don't think I got Spiritual State. I guess Spiritual State was missing or something. I don't have Spiritual State. I don't know if there was a CD for it either. I would have to take another look. I also got this random vinyl, really cool album cover. Chill With You. Looks like the artist is 14 and Gavin 2, featuring Shin O2 and Sawa. It sounded really good, so I decided to just go ahead and get it. Maybe I'll have some time to listen to it one day. This was hype. I did not think I would find a vinyl for the legendary, in my opinion, Yuka Nagase. So her best album of all time, OACL, a modern classic if you ask me. One of the best indie pop albums I've listened to, indie J-pop albums. I was super happy with it. I had to ask someone in the staff to find it for me because when I looked where she went to go get it, there was no chance I was ever gonna find that. Absolutely no fucking chance. Not only was it behind a bunch of records, it was also in the under storage. So I never would have found that. I would have had to look the entire fucking day. There's this other one that says Made in Thailand, Orihuse, the biggest vibes. I don't know what that means. And usually I try to avoid things that just say vibes because I feel like that's indicative of a certain kind of music production. But I did listen to it a bit and I was like, oh, I like this. So, you know, I'll on to the vinyl. The vinyl looks really nice. We also have J Villain Doom Nuts, which I'm assuming is MF Doom versus remixed over the beats found on Donuts. It sounds really cool. I don't know how it sounds. I never listened to it. Album cover looks great, and in my opinion, Doom is a very respectable rapper. He's no longer in my top 5. I used to consider him a top 5 rappers. He's no longer in mine. And Donuts is one of the best instrumental hip-hop albums ever fucking made. I did get the Ghost of Yote soundtrack. Ghost of Yote has an amazing soundtrack. Maybe not the most consistent, but there are certain tracks in there that I was absolutely considered like 11 out of 10. This one was a little pricier, 7,000 yen. I think that'll be around $40. Yeah, those are all my vinyls. So Tower Records was something we did early in the day, and I won't say it sucked, but I will say I had to carry around these vinyls the entire day. We weighed my backpack when we got back to the Airbnb, and it was around like 30 fucking pounds. And I was lugging that shit the entire day. Luckily, I'm used to that from school because I always kept my books in my bag. But yeah, it was very insane to do that first thing in the morning, but it was worth it. Also got some plushies from the Fangamer store in Shibuya from my friends. One of the pot guy from Elden Ring, I forget his name, is like Alexander or something like that. And another of the doll from Bloodborne. Funny enough, this was in the indie game section. Elden Ring is one of the biggest AAA games ever fucking made. I don't know what it was doing there, but hey, I got a gift to my friend, so whatever. I got a Haori for a decent price, something like $60. And it is a traditional Japanese clothing that is typically worn during the summer. It looks really nice. I love it. It's a very simple design. There's some other stuff I saw, but I couldn't really justify the price, especially since I don't wear stuff like this very often. Usually when I'm out and about, I don't really wear stylish stuff unless I'm with my friends, and I only really get together with my friends once a year. So yeah, I got a bunch of other clothing stuff. I got a Free Run shirt, the one with her stuck in the chest, which is always funny and adorable. I saw a Mono shirt that in retrospect I should have taken just because it was Mono, but went against it. I got a shirt from Usagi Ramen. I did mention the Nujabes shirt from Tower Records. I wanted to get a Tower Records shirt, but I already spent so much there that I couldn't really justify getting more shit. I got a shirt from the Roland shop. It's an audio hardware shop. The people there were super nice. There weren't that many people in there. They had a shirt with a really neat design on it. So I was just like, hey, let me get this. It looks really nice. Do you have extra large? They said, yeah, got that shit. And they gave me a really cool sticker with it. It's pricey, but that's usually how clothing is gonna be if you're not buying from fucking Walmart. And now, as far as the selection of merch goes, I won't say I was disappointed, because obviously I bought a bunch of shit, but there was some disappointment in there. I understand an appeal needs to be made to the popular stuff like JJK and Demon Slayer, but I was really hoping for some more niche stuff. This is Japan, and these shops are everywhere. It wasn't until I visited the Ami Ami store, I saw a surprise figure of Undine in her bunny girl fit. Now, who the fuck is Undine? What the fuck did you just say? Okay, she's from Nirvana Cloud. What the fuck is Nirvana Cloud? It's a spin-off of Girls Frontline, and it has some top-tier cute anime girls that can match even the cutest of Genshin characters. And Undine herself is an absolute fucking queen. She's adorable and has a backstory that makes me want to head pat her every time I see her. Definitely top 3 in the game, and she happens to be broken as fuck in the gameplay. And I don't know if I ever said it, but I don't know if I love it, but I will say I like/love the bunny girl fits. It's simply cute and very appealing. My only issue here is that it's been overdone recently, and it's not nearly as stylish as her default, and definitely not nearly as cute. They also, I don't know why, I hate when artists do this, is that they took her chest size, which she is flat, she doesn't have much going on up there, and they put the slider up to C-cup titties. Like, why? I mean, if you like Undine, if you fuck with Undine, you fuck with Undine, you know? I don't think the titties are gonna make the difference, unless you're that horny, but I don't know. There are plenty of characters with giant fucking titties in Nirvana Cloud. Undine was not one of them. So now why did I get it? Because it's fucking Undine. If I show you this oath, let me show you this oath voice line.
今までこんなの考えたことも望んだこともなかったのに、それを現実にしてしまうなんて。私たちの栄壮への褒美として受け取りましょう。ありがとうございます、教授。
If that didn't hit, then you don't have a heart. I just wish there was a figure of her in her default fit, because her default fit is fucking amazing. I love that design so much. And I'm just gonna add, before I move on, I will just add that Undine is like top 10 cutest anime girls ever, and put it out there. Now the obvious tourist stuff. My absolute favorite one was Fushimi Inari Shrine. It was just flat out beautiful, from the walk up top to the temple on top. It was just non-stop sight for sore eyes. It is an extremely touristy area, so I suggest waking up around 4 or 5 and going the difficult route. That being the one with the bamboo forest and unpaved steps. It's much more difficult, but it's worth it. You will be able to immerse yourself in the atmosphere and the views and the landscapes and stuff. It's a very spiritual walk that just wouldn't be the same around tourists dragging along their demon children. I just want to say, your kid does not give a fuck about the temple on top of Fushimi Inari Shrine. Or the shrine up top, whatever I was trying to say. Your kid does not give a fuck about that shit. Go bring them to fucking Disneyland, or like Team Labs or some shit. They don't give a fuck about this. My second favorite spot was Amino Park. And this is the one that almost got crossed off the list of shit to do. It was 1 hour away from our Airbnb in Osaka, but it was worth it. Just like Fushimi Inari Shrine, the end of the trail was beautiful, but so was the trail itself. There's so much to see. It felt very natural, and we met a cool guy there that talked quite a bit about the history of Japan, and the scenery was arguably better than Inari Shrine. I would love to see it during autumn. I've seen pictures of it. I would love to be there myself. Now I will say, Shitanoji was slightly disappointing. If you want to see the temples, I say go for it. But it didn't have that mystical and non-urban feel that Fushimi Inari Shrine had. And part of that is because it's literally in the middle of Osaka. The statues are cool, the architecture is cool. And there was a nice pond there that had, like, I think it was a flat shell turtle, whatever the fuck they're called, like a pancake turtle. And koi fish in there. But besides that, not a super memorable experience. Team Labs was better than expected, actually. There's a room with balls that spin around and smack you in your face and shit. And I thought it was gonna be optical illusions or holograms or that kind of shit. But there were actual physical balls spinning in a fucking tornado. It was a really cool visual and audio experience. And my favorite one was 1,000 Words of Eternity. It has like Buddhist chanting and stuff. And like orange and red lights. That shit was really cool. And yeah, Monkey Park was amazing. You probably could have guessed from my bias towards gorillas and orangutans. I also love monkeys. I love howler monkeys. I love spider monkeys. And Japan's monkeys, I don't know if there's a specific name for them, are also very cool. This was a must, and despite the crowds, it was still really enjoyable. There are going to be two stupid people that do the exact opposite of what you would want to do when seeing monkeys, like staring them right in their fucking eyes, but it was still really enjoyable. And there's a nice view of the city once you reach the top. And lastly, Osaka Castle isn't really a must-see unless you love history. I feel like most of it was like, hey, look at this, and then leaving to the next spot. There's nothing I really wanted to absorb besides the moat, and the experience was really made by us making dumb jokes along the way, rather than Osaka Castle being cool. And I would also like to say that every city felt different, of course. Osaka's a big city with a small town atmosphere. Tokyo is Tokyo, and Kyoto has a very old style atmosphere to it. They literally had people doing the fucking, like, they pull the carriages and stuff. But I will say, walking alone in Kyoto at night and coming across random anime stuff was the most fun I had as far as, like, adventures alone goes. But yeah, Japan was great. I have very few regrets about you know what we didn't do? We didn't go to a maid cafe. But y'all, I'm telling you, it just wasn't really... I think the more we stayed in Japan, the more we were like, let's just get actual food. Because the maid cafe, you're paying for the experience, not just the food. You're paying for the experience as well, I would assume. And that's great and all. It's just that when we were hungry, we wanted to eat. We didn't just want maid cafe food, then having a performance put up for us. We just wanted food. Be okonomiyaki, ramen, or like yakiniku. There was really no time for the maid cafe. As much as integral as I think it is towards the Japan trip, we just didn't do it. And also towards the end of the trip, I already explained what happened at the Don Quixote. It's like, yes, the maids are cute. There were some maids that I saw. No, it wasn't a maid. It was I think it was some fucking girl with short blonde hair, passing out flyers. She was beautiful. I've said it before. I don't know if I said it on the channel, but I'm sorry, Asian girls rock blonde hair better than white girls, even though it's natural for them. But Asian girls just do it better. I know I'm biased, but I have to say it, especially if it's short blonde hair. Now, after what happened at the Don Quixote, I just did not care to stop by a maid cafe at all. I didn't care to stop by a girl at all. I didn't care to stop by anything at all. Every time I saw a cute girl, I would be like, oh, she's cute. And my mom would be like, well, what about that girl Don Quixote with a fucking beautiful angel voice? So I guess I only have two regrets from Japan. It's not going to the maid cafe. I really didn't feel the need to. And you know, not telling that girl that she has a really pretty voice. And another one that I didn't really have any control over was the fact that I didn't see any Uyama Hiroto records. Uyama is another one of my favorite Japanese artists of all time, very close collaborator and friend of Nujabes. There was a section dedicated for him in the CDs area, but they didn't have anything for him. Now, I went to Tower Records twice, a few days apart, I believe, if not a week apart. Both days, they did not restock on his shit. I love Uyama. Freeform Jazz is one of my favorite albums of all time. It is maybe my third favorite album ever fucking made. But they didn't have even Freeform Jazz, not Freedom of the Sun, not A Son of the Sun, not even his newest album, and it's just unfortunate. And I would also add that there's a Shotengai in Osaka that everyone goes to, and I do recommend going there, but on the outer part of it. For us, we were kind of walking down this alley with a river, and there were boats going down and people playing music and shit. Do that. That's great, and it's not overly stimulating. There's not too much people. You get to enjoy the music. You still get to enjoy the scenery and stuff like that, just from a little further. You don't have to be part of the crowd. Really nice. But yeah, Japan was great. I would love to go again. I really wanted to visit Hokkaido and Okinawa because I'm actually a lot more interested in the history of Okinawa and Hokkaido, the Ainu people in Hokkaido, and the Ryukyuan people in Okinawa. But we didn't have enough time on this trip, nor did I have enough money. And I would also recommend, it's weird to recommend this late in the video, but if you're broke as fuck like me, don't save up for Japan a year before Japan. Save up for Japan 3 years before Japan. Because in my case, I started saving up for, I believe it was like 1.5 years. And shit would just happen one after another where I just have to drop money. And say, okay, I can save up again. I would save up money, something else happens. Oh, you have to drop money again. And also, if you can, I would recommend For flights, do first class if you can. We got by on economy class, but we all basically agreed that the trip there was awful. The trip back wasn't so bad, but the trip there was awful. I don't know what it was, but it was not the most pleasant experience. So if you can, do get first class. Now, all that being said, Japan is great. A friend asked me if I put it on a tier list, where would I put it? I would put it at a solid A tier. It was amazing. There were some things I was slightly disappointed in. Some things I figured that they would do differently than America. But a lot of the stuff in Akihabara felt like just a bigger Anime Boston. And if y'all ever been to Anime Boston, you know that it's basically just it's less Anime Boston and more like mainstream Anime Boston. That's the best way to describe Anime Boston, which is natural. I'm not blaming no one for that shit. But as a huge anime nerd, it would have been nice to see something that wasn't Demon Slayer or JJK for the 1 millionth time. Even Gachi Akuta didn't get that much love. Freerun had its sections, Freerun's huge, but you couldn't even see a K-On! Anymore. I know K-On's like 16 years old at this point, but you couldn't really find K-On! There's a lot of gacha stuff, naturally. Nikkei is everywhere. I don't know if I ever said it, I'm not a huge fan of Nikkei. I think Nikkei is just very over the top. I would say I do appreciate what Nikkei is doing more than Azur Lane, where at least the characters in Nikkei look like they're actually wearing outfits. In the case of Azur Lane, I used to be a huge Azur Lane fan until they started doing this shit where every kid was just wearing a string. And I'm sorry, strings don't look like outfits. It's to the point where it's not even sexy anymore. It's just, okay, it's not erotic, it's not sexy, it's just a string. Good job, devs, great design. But yeah, there's gonna be a lot of gacha stuff, gacha related stuff, whether that be ZZZ, Nikkei, Blue Archive. Blue Archive had a huge presence there. Azur Lane, Star Rail had some presence there. Genshin wasn't as big as I thought it would be. And unfortunately, Wuthering Waves didn't see much love. I would have loved to get some Wuthering Waves stuff for a family member of mine, because he loves Wuthering Waves. It's his gacha game of choice. But yeah, that being said, Japan was amazing. It wasn't the S tier that I thought it was gonna be, but goddamn, I am happy. I fucking love it in here. They got the Arc Knights and they're fucking playing Nanako. It's just fucking crazy.